At the state capitol, a new legislative session begins this week. This comes as state Republicans weigh the future of Wisconsin's top election official. CBS 58 Capitol correspondent Emily Fannin and WIS politics editor J.R. Ross break it down for us in this week's Capitol Connection.
With talk of impeachment swirling around the state capitol among Republicans, Democrats are trying to get in front of that by launching their own ad campaign in an effort to reconvince Republicans that, hey, maybe you might want to take a step back before going through this. The State Democratic Party of Wisconsin launched a $4 million ad campaign, which will consist of TV ads and door knocking. You know, they're trying to get out ahead of this as many top Republicans are weighing in and basically threatening to impeach State Supreme Court Justice Janet Protasiewicz if she doesn't recuse herself from registering cases based on the money that she's accepted from the State Democratic Party and comments that she said on the campaign trail calling the maps rigged. But now it's looking ahead to what's the end game. We know that this could likely maybe be, you know, a bad move, a bad look for Republicans and have political ramifications down the road. Whereas Democrats, you know, what are they eventually trying to do with this? And are they just going to raise money off of it? Kind of just getting ahead of it.
Well, they have to be prepared. And so look at this way. Robin Vos, the Assembly Speaker, we both talked to multiple sources in the Capitol. There's a feeling of Republicans don't really want to do this. They don't want to go through the impeachment. They would love to see Janet Protasiewicz recused from the case. Probably not going to happen. Okay, and if you look at Robin's comments closely, he said things like, I hope she steps off if she doesn't want to have to do a study of what's going on. We think he's buying time, right, to try and push off this, trying to get a trial on the maps maybe delayed. Okay, for Democrats, if you see that Robin Vos is in a difficult situation here, what are you doing with spending this money? Are you cutting off his off-ramps? Because we all think he's looking for a way out. You know, maybe going to the U.S. Supreme Court to try and challenge Protasiewicz sitting on it. This $4 million, will it help or hurt? And what's it do to Republicans? I mean, if they're worried about these maps being changed and losing their seats anyway through new maps, what's $4 million do to them? Does it make them more desperate? Does it really scare them? I'm not sure of that dynamic. But as a party, you can't not prepare. If they're going to go after Protasiewicz, Ben Wickler, the state chair, can't sit back and say, we're just going to watch. You have to be engaged, show you're getting organized. And oh, by the way, this is now a way to raise money nationally, not just for the party, but groups that help Democrats in campaigns. They're going, hey, donors, look what's going on here. They're giving it for 2024 right now with this effort.
Right, and looking ahead to next week on Monday, Republicans are going to vote on Megan Wolfe, who is the state's top election official. And this vote comes as Republicans in the Senate are basically trying to go through with this process to bring up her reappointment and then vote her down, which would essentially fire her. And that would leave a big gap in a major position heading into the 2024 election. This has been an ongoing dispute at the Capitol as there's been a lot of frustrations from Republicans who don't like how Megan has been leading the Wisconsin Elections Commission and some of the policies that commissioners enacted, not herself because she doesn't have enough vote. But this is basically the next step that will send this reappointment to the Senate floor.
And will the Senate then vote? Because, you know, if the Senate votes on it, it's unlikely she has 17 votes to get reconfirmed. If they vote for it or vote on it, we're going to court. Like, that's going to be the ultimate place where we find out, is she still the administrator? And, you know, then you're talking about a possibly drawn out legal process about who's leading the Elections Commission in Wisconsin, an election year when, oh, by the way, we're one of 5 states that matter for the White House. It's a challenging look, to say the least.
And then on Tuesday, lawmakers will be back in session. The Assembly will, the Senate will be in on Thursday. And there's always themes of these session days. And one of them is going to be Republicans' nearly $3 billion tax cut and provisions that would ease regulations on child care centers. We've got confirmation from the governor this week that he is going to veto the GOP tax plan, and he's already signaled he doesn't think the child care proposals do enough because they more, like I said, ease regulations, make, you know, group settings a little bit larger in daycare centers. They don't actually funnel money into daycare centers, which is what the governor wanted. So, you know, it's safe to assume that both of these bills are likely going to be doomed for the governor's veto pen.
And it's a messaging thing. If you listen to Republicans now, they're talking about this third tax bracket as a total middle-class tax cut. Remember, in the budget, the governor signed but vetoed pieces of back in July. He nixed this reduction plus one of the top income tax bracket. This bracket still applies to income up to $405,000 for married couples filing jointly. But for Republicans, it is the middle class tax cut, the sole middle class tax cut, right? Does that messaging went out? Got to note that Todd Onstad, a Democrat from Kenosha, voted for the bill in committee, but said, I reserve the right to change my mind on the floor. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's be interesting to watch how they message this. And is there something, a compromise down the road to actually get something done?
Right, because we still have $4 billion in the projected state surplus by the end of the next budget cycle, which will be done in 2025. And looks here, they don't have an agreement right now, but what brings them back to the table? Is it going to be talking about possible Brewers deal to keep the Brewers here at AmFam Field? You know, that's what we're going to look for, at least something I'm going to track for down the line of what they maybe couple this with in ongoing negotiations on other issues here. I
don't know, can they get anything done? There are raw motions from the summer and the vetoes the governor issued. I've been told for months, they'll get a Brewers deal done. They'll get something done. It's the question of what. Well, I don't know they're there yet. So that's a big thing that I think they'll do. Brewers, tax cut's not going to happen because Evers will veto it. This child care stuff, can they pair it with something? That's a good question. What they actually get done, a meaningful thing they get done the floor this fall.
It'll be an interesting fall. All right, that will do it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us.